In this video, we are going to discuss about the properties of the material. Some of the properties was discussed in my previous video. You can watch my previous video. I have given the link in the description box. So today we are going to discuss about the malleability. Malleability is the ability of the material to convert into a thin sheet under the heavy compressive load. Here you can see how the gold is converted into the thin sheet under the compressive load. Compressive load can be applied with the help of a hammer. So the material which can converted into thin sheet are nothing but the malleable material. And while converting into the thin sheet, the malleable material does not show any sign of fracture or breaking. As I have given one example, that is gold, like that copper, aluminium are also the good malleable materials, and it bears the good malleability. If temperature is increased, then it may affect the malleability property of the materials, and the malleable property of the material may increases. So here you can see how the gold is converted into a thin sheet or gold coin by hammering or providing the compressive load. Generally, all the metals bears the malleable properties, whereas non-metals does not bear the malleable properties. If we compare the malleable property with the ductility, normally what happens, we have some certain ideas that all the malleable property materials are ductile materials, but that is not correct. Some of the materials are malleable but not ductile. So what is the basic difference in between the ductility and malleability? If the material can be converted into a thin sheet under the tension load, generally in order to convert the material into the thin sheet, we are applying tension load. But in the case of malleable property, the material is converted into a thin sheet. In ductility, the material is converted into a thin wire, not thin sheet. But in malleability, the material will be converted into a thin sheet under the compressive load. Ductile material subjected to tension stress or tensile load, malleable material subjected to compression stress or compressive load. And in ductile material, the material can be converted into a thin wire, whereas in malleable material, the material is converted into a thin sheet. Normally, if we can determine the compressive stress before breaking in the case of malleable material, then we can estimate the exact value of malleability within the material. And if we can get the yield stress value, then we can also determine the ductility property of the material. So here the material is converted into a thin wire. So this material is known as the ductile material, whereas some of the this material is converted into a thin sheet. So this is a malleable material. Most of the malleable materials are not ductile, but most of the malleable materials possess or bears the ductility behavior. But some of the materials like lead, which does not possess ductility property but possess malleable property. Here also you can see if the material is converted into a thin sheet where, then this is nothing but a ductile material. If the material is converted into a thin sheet, then it is a malleable material. Here you can see how the malleable material behaves under the compressive load. So this is a case of metal. Metal can be converted into a thin sheet, but non-metals immediately breaks under the compressive load. So it does not possess, generally non-metals like sulfur, charcoal does not possess the malleability property, whereas the metals like aluminium, copper possess the malleability property. And in case of ductility, here you can see after applying the tensile load, the ductile material converted into a thin wear. Now come to the hardness. So already we have discussed about the three properties, that is ductility, brittleness and malleability. Now come to the hardness. So what actually hardness is? Hardness is the ability of the material to withstand scratching or penetration or indentation. Normally we can take the example of a glass for better understanding. If you scratch the glass or scratch the mirror, can you able to scratch it actually? The answer is no. We cannot able to scratch the material. So glass is definitely a hard material. So here you can see a cat is trying to scratch on the mirror, but it cannot able to scratch the mirror because mirror is a hard material. So the material in which we cannot scratch or remove the material by indentation, that type of materials are known as the hard material. So there are the various tests by which we can measure the hardness. So if a material is very hard, then how much hard it should be? So that can be measured with the help of following tests like Rockwell hardness test, Brinell hardness test, Vickers hardness test, Knoop hardness test, Shore test, Mohs test, Barkol hardness test. So amongst these, Brinell's hardness test is the most common and popular one. In the Brinell's hardness tests, we have to determine the Brinell's hardness number, and for that we have to apply indenter. We have to apply the indentation with the help of indenter which have certain diameter d, and after applying the force, this type of indentation mark will generate on the material. So we have to measure what is the depth of the indentation, and then area under the indentation is to be calculated, that is the inner diameter as well as the outer diameter, and the Brinell's hardness number was determined. Later on we will discuss in some other videos about the Brinell's hardness test in details. Just you remember, the Brinell's hardness test provides us the Brinell's hardness number by which we can able to measure the hardness. Now hardness depends upon the following properties like ductility, elastic, stiffness, plasticity, strain, toughness, viscosity. Now come to the toughness. What is toughness? Toughness is the ability of the material to absorb energy during the plastic deformation up to fracture. Normally what happens, whenever we are applying load, whenever we are applying force on the material, the energy from our hand is transferred to the material through the different materials which is used to provide the load. For example, we can take, if we are hammering a gold material, then the hammer is used to transfer the load, and the load is transferred by our hand to the gold material. Then gold material absorbs some energy, and when the energy absorption will be maximum, then it gets felt, or cracks will be seen on the surface of the material. So when the crack, before we see the crack, the energy that the material has been absorbed, that is nothing but the toughness. And toughness is measured by the help of toughness modulus, or material toughness, which is nothing but the area under the stress strain diagram. And the ductile material also possesses more toughness. So in the simple way, we can say toughness is the ability of the material to withstand the impact load. The larger the impact needed to fracture or break a piece of material determines how the tough the material is. You can better understand what is toughness. We can take the example of the glass. If we apply the load on the glass, then glass will immediately break. We can say the glass is not the tough material. It may be the hard material, because we cannot scratch the glass, but it is not a tough material. Okay, we cannot scratch the glass, but we can break the glass like this. So glass is not the tough material. It is a hard material, but it is not tough material. So we can say another example of a tough material, which is the glass of a car. We cannot break the glass of the car immediately. Before breaking the glass of the car, it shows the sign of failure, or cracks will arise on the glass. So glass of a car is not a hard material, because we can scratch the glass of the car, but we cannot break it. Like this, the person is trying to break the glass of the car, but he fails. So it is a tough material in the simple way. And the energy absorption limit, or the energy absorption capacity of the material is very, very high. Normally the toughness is measured with the help of a test that is known as the Charpy test. In some other videos we may discuss about the Charpy test, but in this video I just shown the name of the test which is used to measure the toughness, or in order to determine the toughness modulus stress strain graph. The area under the stress strain graph provides, before failure, provides the modulus of toughness. So the difference between the hardness and toughness can be understood with the help of an example. That is, glass is a hard material, as I told you, but definitely it is not tough. Like that, steel is a very tough material, and steel can be made more tougher by adding some other materials or making some alloys. If the material will more tougher, then hardness may be reduced, or scratch or indentation limit can be more in case of more tougher material. Now let us discuss about the fatigue. So we have discussed about ductility, brittleness, malleability, hardness, toughness. Now fatigue. What is the fatigue? Fatigue is nothing but the failure under the cyclic loading. Cyclic loading means repeated loading. If we apply repeated loading on the material, if it fails, then that type of failure is known as the fatigue failure. And before failure, the energy, the stress which it bears or which it resisted is the endurance limit. That means, for an example, you can see this. The person is trying to break the glass. When he is trying to break the glass in the first attempt, then the cracks may not arise on the glass. In the second attempt, when he is trying to break the glass, the cracks may not be arises in the second attempt. In the third attempt may not be cracks arises, but in the fourth attempt, when the glass, when some small cracks will arise on the glass surface, then that is nothing but the fatigue failure. So we can say, by the repeated action or repeated hammering, the glass shows the signs of failure. Now you can see the many number of cracks can be seen on the surface of the glass. So this is nothing but the fatigue failure. So the material, when before the failure, before showing the cracks on the material, the stress resisted by the material is nothing but the endurance limit. You can say take the example of a student. If we provide some load on the student, then he may be depressed. If we add some more load, then he may be depressed. And when we add more and more load, then he may not be able to do all the loads. Then he may be more depressed. So that is nothing but the fatigue failure. But up to which he can perform the tasks very efficiently, that is 2 or 3 tasks he can do efficiently, that is nothing but the endurance limit. So endurance limit is nothing but the limit before which we can apply infinite number of cyclic loading, but the materials will not fail. You can hammer the glass infinite limit, up to infinite limit, but it is not failing. That means it is resisting. So that is nothing but the endurance limit. If we increase the hammering load, the person hammering the glass with the help of a small hammer, but if he takes some large hammer, then glass may break. In that case, he increases the load. So number of repetitions, number of hammering also reduces. I think you have understood the difference between the fatigue and endurance limit. If you have any still doubt, then you can comment me in my comment box. So fatigue is nothing but the energy absorption limit. That is, fatigue when the material can absorb the energy up to the toughness, as I discussed earlier, then fatigue will not arise. But after the toughness, fatigue will definitely arise. So fatigue can be predicted by the help of following theoretical approaches and practical approaches, that is Eisenhower strain life relationship. By the help of all these things, we can measure the fatigue. So later on we will discuss in some other videos about the details of Eisenhower strain life relationship, fracture mechanics approach, Goldman life equation. But amongst all, the Eisenhower and strain life relationship is the most popular one. Here you can see how fatigue arises in steel. So here you can see the number of cracks on the steel surface by the repeated action of loading. Now the last one is creep. Creep is nothing but the slow and progressive deformation of material with the time at constant stress. Okay. okay, you can take the example of a concrete surface, concrete member. If we apply some load on the concrete member, due to the load it may deflect, but if we remove the load under the self weight, it gets deflected because weight is acting in the downward direction, and that weight tends to deflect the concrete beam or concrete member. That is nothing but the creep, and creep depends upon the time. So within the progress of time, with the progress of time, it may deflect more and more. Now come to the other properties, that is stress relaxation. So stress relaxation is nothing but, for an example you can take, this is no need to confuse this material properties with the creep. Whenever we are applying some load on the material, then the material may be stressed. For an example, this is a material. Suppose this material was fixed. If you apply the tensile load on the material, then material may be deflect or sagged. It may be stressed. But after removing the material, removing the load, then sag will arise on the material. That means after pulling it is stretching, but after removing the load, then sag may arise in the material. So this is nothing but the stress relaxation. That means we are reducing the stress, and after applying the stress it is stretching, but after removing the stress it is not stretching, but some plastic deformation induced within the material. So that is nothing but the stress relaxation. So after the relaxation of the stress, plastic deformation arises. So this is nothing but the stress relaxation, and it does not depend upon the time. So I hope you have understood the concept of stress relaxation, creep, and all other properties of the material. Here you can see the rubber band is increasing with the help of a constant loading. This phenomenon is nothing but the creep. But if we leave the load, then some sag will arise on the material. So that is nothing but the stress relaxation. Applying a constant load is causes the creep, but removing that load causes the stress relaxation. This is the simple fundamental concept. So there are all other some properties which will be discussed in the later videos, like elasticity, plasticity, and flexibility, stiffness. So I hope the material properties which I have discussed here, you have understood that. If you have any doubt, then you can contact me, and you can comment me in the comment box. So thank you.